It's hard to imagine surviving the brutal heat of the Sahara without air conditioning. But for ancient Egyptians, this was an everyday reality. From using wigs to cool their heads, to smearing crocodile dung like ancient SPF, and even drinking liquid gold as a heat cure. Here are 15 ways Egyptians stayed cool without air conditioning, harnessing the wind. In the blistering heat of ancient Egypt, where summer temperatures regularly climbed above 120 degrees Fahrenheit, staying cool was a challenge. Without modern air conditioning, Egyptians had to rely on intelligent architectural solutions to regulate indoor temperatures. One of the most effective innovations was the Malkaf, a wind catcher designed to capture cooler breezes and direct them into buildings, providing natural ventilation. The Malkaf, meaning wind scoop in Arabic, was an architectural feature that Egyptians incorporated into their homes, temples and palaces. It consisted of a tall, open structure built on the roof, strategically positioned to face prevailing winds. When the wind blew, the Malkaf funneled the air downward through the building, creating a cooling effect inside. Unlike modern air conditioning, which relies on mechanical systems, the Malkaf worked purely on natural airflow and pressure differences. As the fresh air was pulled into the house, hot air was simultaneously pushed out through other openings, ensuring continuous circulation. The effectiveness of this method made it popular among both commoners and the wealthy, though the latter often combined it with shaded courtyards and water features for added cooling. Even grand palaces and administrative buildings utilized wind catchers. Pharaoh Akhenaten's city of Amarna is believed to have incorporated such ventilation techniques in its design, ensuring that living spaces remain tolerable even during the peak of summer. In a climate where heat exhaustion could be deadly, the Malkaf was more than just a comfort. It was essential for survival. Farmers returning from the fields, temple workers engaged in rituals, and artisans crafting statues and jewelry all relied on cool, shaded interiors to recover from the relentless heat. In bustling cities where air stagnation could make indoor spaces unbearable, these structures ensured fresh airflow, improving both comfort and productivity. For Egyptian royalty and priests, maintaining a cool environment wasn't just a matter of comfort, but also a symbol of power and divine favor. Palaces and temples had multiple wind catchers, often positioned alongside courtyards filled with greenery to enhance cooling effects. The concept of the Malkaf is still relevant today, particularly in hot, arid regions where energy-efficient cooling solutions are needed. Countries such as Iran, the UAE, and even modern-day Egypt continue to use modernized wind catchers in architecture, reducing the need for artificial cooling. Even in sustainable architecture, designers are revisiting the principles of the Malkaf, using natural ventilation to cut down on energy costs and environmental impact. Underground storage. The relentless Egyptian sun beat down on the desert landscape, creating an environment where storing perishable goods and escaping the heat required some creativity. One of the most effective solutions was Shabistan, underground chambers designed to provide cooler spaces for the Egyptians and their goods away from the oppressive heat above. Shabistans were often constructed beneath temples, homes, and granaries, where the Earth's natural insulation helped regulate temperature. These subterranean structures were strategically ventilated using the Malkaf, which directed cooler air into the chamber while allowing hot air to escape. Many Shabistans were also connected to qanats, underground water channels that provided a constant source of moisture, further lowering temperatures within these spaces. Royal palaces and noble homes also featured underground retreats, where high-ranking officials and scribes could escape the sweltering heat while continuing administrative work. Underground cooling was essential for not just comfort, but food security and trade. Without Shabistans, Egyptians would have struggled to preserve food for long periods, impacting temple offerings, military rations, and daily meals for workers and families. For temple priests and merchants, these spaces allowed them to store valuable goods like papyrus scrolls, spices, and dried goods, ensuring they remained intact despite Egypt's extreme heat. The Shabastan cooling method is still used in many desert regions. In places like Iran, Egypt, and parts of North Africa, underground cooling systems remain a key feature of sustainable architecture. Wine cellars, basement storage, and underground homes follow the same principles today. Evaporative cooling with wet mats. In the harsh Egyptian summer, the dry desert air could feel suffocating. With no modern cooling systems, Egyptians turned to simple yet effective methods to make their homes more comfortable. One of the most widespread techniques was evaporative cooling, achieved by hanging wet mats over windows and doorways. Made from woven papyrus or reeds, these mats were soaked in water and placed where the hot air entered. As the wind passed through, the moisture in the mats evaporated, cooling the air before it entered the living space. This process also increased humidity, which was crucial in Egypt's arid climate, preventing excessive dryness inside homes. The use of evaporative cooling wasn't limited to commoners. Priests in temple complexes, where scrolls and sacred texts had to be preserved, relied on wet mats to maintain a stable indoor environment. Even in royal residences, similar methods were employed alongside other architectural cooling techniques. Evaporative cooling made indoor spaces more bearable, especially during the sweltering summer months. For artisans working inside workshops, keeping temperatures down was essential to prevent heat exhaustion. In bustling markets and homes, wet mats provided a cooling effect that was both simple and accessible. Evaporative cooling remains widely used, particularly in hot, dry regions. Modern swamp coolers function on the same principle, cooling air through water evaporation. In sustainable architecture, designers use water walls, misting systems, and dampened textiles to reduce indoor temperatures without excessive energy consumption. Use of fans. Before mechanical fans and air conditioning, Egyptians relied on hand-operated fans made from palm leaves, feathers, and woven reeds to generate airflow and provide relief from the heat. Fans were a common sight across homes, palaces, and temples. Servants were often tasked with waving large fans over pharaohs, nobles, and high priests, ensuring a constant breeze in otherwise stagnant rooms. Royal tomb paintings and temple carvings frequently depict attendants fanning important figures, emphasizing their role in providing comfort. Even for the common people, handheld fans were widely used, especially in marketplaces, workshops, and places of worship where large crowds gathered. Some wealthier households also hung suspended fans from ceilings, which could be gently pulled by ropes to create a cooling effect over an entire room. Fans were one of the simplest and most accessible cooling methods, ensuring relief for those working or residing in enclosed spaces. For scribes recording important texts, artisans crafting delicate goods, and merchants negotiating in hot markets, a steady breeze made work far more bearable. In the royal court, large fans weren't just practical, they were a status symbol. The more elaborate the fan, the greater the wealth and power of the person being cooled. Feathers from exotic birds and intricately designed gold handles turned simple fans into symbols of prestige. While mechanical fans have replaced hand-operated ones, the concept of moving air for cooling remains fundamental. Ceiling fans, handheld fans, and misting fans all function on the same principle. In outdoor events and traditional ceremonies, palm leaf fans are still widely used, showing that this ancient technique has never truly disappeared. Courtyard design. At the core of many Egyptian structures was the courtyard, an open-air space that played a vital role in temperature regulation. More than just a gathering place, courtyards acted as natural cooling systems, reducing indoor heat and enhancing ventilation. These spaces were often lined with shaded walkways, allowing air to flow freely while blocking direct sunlight. Many courtyards featured small pools, fountains, or basins, which provided a cooling effect as the water evaporated. Plants such as lotus flowers, date palms, and papyrus reeds were commonly grown, adding both shade and humidity to the air. In cities like Memphis and Thebes, homes and administrative buildings were constructed around courtyards to ensure continuous airflow. Pharaoh's palaces took this to another level, incorporating elaborate gardens with pools and shaded corridors. The Temple of Karnak, one of the grandest religious complexes, also used large open courtyards to keep inner sanctuaries cooler. Courtyards weren't just about comfort. They influenced daily life, social interaction, and work environments. Families spent their mornings and evenings in these open spaces, where temperatures were significantly lower than in enclosed rooms. In royal and religious settings, courtyards provided spaces for ceremonies and official gatherings, while ensuring that extreme heat didn't overwhelm the attendees. For commoners, courtyards served multiple functions: a shaded work area, a cool resting spot, and even a place to store perishable goods. Farmers and traders used them to conduct business, and artisans relied on the airflow to keep their workshops habitable. The concept of courtyard cooling is still widely used in hot climates. Traditional Islamic and Mediterranean architecture features homes with courtyards that regulate temperature naturally. Modern eco-friendly designs also incorporate shaded atriums and inner courtyards to reduce heat buildup, deflecting the sun's heat. Egyptians understood that heat absorption played a significant role in indoor temperatures, leading them to develop reflective roofing materials to minimize heat buildup. Many homes and temples featured flat, whitewashed roofs that reflected sunlight rather than absorbing it. These surfaces were made from limestone, clay, or a mixture of gypsum and crushed stone, all of which had high reflective properties. By keeping roofs light in colour, Egyptians ensured that buildings remained cooler during the day. In wealthier homes and royal palaces, roofs were sometimes covered with light-coloured tiles or stone slabs, further enhancing their ability to repel heat. Some structures also used woven reed coverings or layers of damp clay, which added an extra layer of insulation. Beyond private homes, temples and government buildings incorporated reflective roofing to keep indoor sanctuaries and administrative offices comfortable. The Temple of Luxor and Karnak are examples of large-scale structures that benefited from this cooling technique. By reducing heat absorption, Egyptians improved indoor comfort without needing additional energy or ventilation. This method was particularly important in densely built cities like Memphis and Thebes, where trapped heat could make conditions unbearable. For traders, artisans and priests, reflective roofs made workplaces more tolerable. Since Egyptian society relied on intense manual labour, keeping interior temperatures lower meant that people could work more efficiently without excessive exhaustion. Reflective roofing is still widely used in modern energy-efficient buildings. White or light-coloured roofs, solar reflective coatings, and green roof technology all stem from the same principle Egyptians discovered thousands of years ago. Many countries in hot climates, including India, Greece and parts of the Middle East, continue to use whitewashed buildings to reflect sunlight and lower temperatures naturally. Even NASA's thermal technology is inspired by this same concept. Head coverings. In the relentless Egyptian heat, direct exposure to the sun was not just uncomfortable, it was dangerous. With temperatures soaring well over 100 degrees, prolonged sun exposure could cause dehydration, heat stroke, and skin damage. To combat this, Egyptians developed a simple but highly effective cooling method: head coverings. Head protection was a common sight in daily life, worn by both the elite and commoners. Linen headdresses and wigs were among the most popular choices. Linen, a lightweight and breathable fabric, was wrapped around the head to shield it from the sun, while allowing airflow to cool the skin. Wigs, typically made of human hair or plant fibres, were also worn by nobles and pharaohs, offering insulation from the sun while maintaining a fashionable and regal appearance. For those in the royal court, priests and government officials, elaborate names headdresses, such as the one seen on the iconic mask of Pharaoh Tutankhamun, were used not just as symbols of power, but also for practical cooling. These headdresses shaded the face and neck, helping to reduce direct heat exposure. Farmers, artisans and labourers working under the harsh sun also adapted their own versions of head coverings. Simple linen wraps or reed hats were tied around their heads, protecting them from the direct glare of the sun while allowing sweat to evaporate efficiently, helping their bodies stay cool. Farmers working along the Nile, builders constructing temples, and merchants travelling between cities all relied on head coverings to endure long hours outdoors. Without this protection, heat-related illnesses could disrupt labour and daily life. Even religious rituals incorporated head coverings. Priests in temple complexes wore white linen headpieces, ensuring they remained cool while performing sacred duties. The association between linen and purity further reinforced the importance of these coverings in both practical and symbolic terms. The concept of wearing head coverings to protect against heat remains widespread. In modern desert regions, Bedouins and nomadic groups continue to wear loose head wraps, using the same principles the Egyptians mastered. Wide-brimmed hats and moisture-wicking headbands are still used by workers, athletes, and travellers in hot climates. Mashrabiyah. Ancient Egyptian builders understood that staying cool required more than just shelter. It required designing airflow into the very structure of a building. One of their most effective solutions was the mashrabiyah, an intricate wooden lattice that served multiple purposes, providing shade, allowing ventilation, and even enhancing evaporative cooling. The mashrabiyah was not just about comfort, it was a crucial adaptation to Egypt's extreme heat. For scribes working indoors, these wooden lattices ensured a steady airflow, allowing them to focus on recording trade, religious texts, and royal decrees. Merchants and traders also benefited as cooler interior spaces preserved food supplies, textiles, and valuable goods. In religious and royal settings, mashrabiyahs helped regulate temperatures in temples, administrative buildings, and even palaces, ensuring that sacred relics and written scrolls were not damaged by excessive heat and dryness. Pharaohs and high priests relied on these cooling techniques to maintain comfort while governing affairs or performing rituals. A mashrabiyah was typically built as a wooden screen extending from the upper floors of homes or administrative buildings, projecting over streets or courtyards. The lattice design allowed air to flow freely while preventing direct sunlight from entering, keeping indoor spaces cooler during the hottest parts of the day. These structures also provided privacy, a key consideration in Egyptian society, especially for noble households and high-ranking officials. For enhanced cooling, Egyptians often placed clay water jars inside mashrabiyahs. As the water evaporated, it cooled the surrounding air, creating a natural air conditioning effect that made interiors significantly more comfortable. This simple yet effective cooling system was widely used in dense urban areas like Memphis and Thebes, where homes and workshops were closely packed together, making ventilation a priority. The mashrabiyah technique is still widely used in architecture today, particularly in modern-day Egypt, the Middle East, and North Africa. Modern buildings incorporate lattice screens, perforated facades, and wooden sunshades to regulate indoor temperatures naturally. In sustainable architecture, the mashrabiyah principle is applied to reduce reliance on air conditioning, making it an energy-efficient solution for hot climates. Water features. It's not a secret that Egyptians lived in one of the hottest regions on Earth, but they had an ingenious way of using water to lower temperatures. Fountains, pools, and small water basins were commonly built into homes, palaces, and temples to cool the air and create a more comfortable environment. The concept was simple. As water evaporated, it absorbed heat from the surrounding air, naturally reducing temperatures. This made indoor and outdoor spaces much cooler, even during the peak of summer. Wealthy Egyptians and royal families installed decorative fountains in their homes, using elaborate stone basins filled with water to create a refreshing atmosphere. Common households, especially those near the Nile, used clay basins or small pools to achieve the same effect. Workers and traders often gathered near these water sources to cool off, allowing their sweat to evaporate faster in the humid air. Some temples and royal estates even featured man-made ponds surrounded by trees and vegetation. These water bodies not only provided a cooling effect, but also served religious and ceremonial purposes, symbolizing the life-giving power of the Nile. Water was one of Egypt's most valuable resources, and using it for cooling had both practical and cultural significance. Temples used water features to create a sacred and serene atmosphere, where priests could conduct rituals in comfort. Pharaohs, such as Akhenaten, ensured that water played a key role in palace designs, reinforcing the idea that rulers controlled not just land, but also the forces of nature. For the general population, access to water features in public spaces provided a way to avoid heat exhaustion and stay hydrated. It also improved air quality in enclosed areas, making life in bustling cities like Memphis and Thebes more tolerable. The ancient Egyptian use of water for cooling is still practiced in modern architecture. Many Middle Eastern and Mediterranean homes incorporate courtyard fountains and reflecting pools to naturally lower temperatures. Even in contemporary urban planning, cities use mist systems, decorative water walls, and shaded fountains to reduce heat islands and make public spaces more livable. Designing with the sun in mind. Egyptian architecture strategically positioned homes, temples, and public buildings to minimize direct sun exposure and maximize ventilation, creating naturally cooler spaces. One of the key principles in Egyptian architecture was alignment with prevailing winds. Builders designed homes with entryways and openings that faced cooler northern winds, allowing fresh air to circulate while blocking the harshest rays of the sun. This natural ventilation reduced indoor temperatures, making homes and temples more comfortable without the need for artificial cooling. Structures were also positioned to cast shade. In cities like Thebes and Memphis, buildings were constructed closely together, creating narrow streets that provided continuous shade throughout the day. This not only cooled the urban landscape, but also protected markets, workshops, and public gathering spaces from overheating. Inside homes, rooms were often placed according to the movement of the sun. Living areas were oriented to stay cool during the hottest parts of the day, while courtyards and open-air passageways allowed air to flow freely. Temples and palaces followed similar principles. Massive stone walls absorbed and slowly released heat, regulating indoor temperatures. The Temple of Karnak, one of the largest religious complexes in Egypt, was structured with aligned columns and shaded corridors, ensuring that sacred areas remained cool even in extreme heat. By understanding the sun's movement and airflow patterns, Egyptians built spaces that worked with the environment rather than against it. This architectural foresight ensured that homes, temples, and government buildings remained livable, even in the harshest climates. The principles of building orientation are still used in modern sustainable architecture. Passive cooling techniques, such as positioning windows for optimal ventilation and designing shaded courtyards, are commonly applied in warm climates. green building initiatives now incorporate Egyptian-style sun control methods to reduce energy consumption and improve indoor comfort. Vegetation and greenery. Creating shade from ancient Egypt desert sun was a necessity. Egyptians understood that planting trees and vines around homes and public spaces helped lower temperatures and improve air quality. This natural method of cooling was widely used in both royal gardens and common households. Tall trees like date palms, sycamores and acacias were carefully positioned around homes, temples and administrative buildings to block direct sunlight and reduce heat. The shade provided by these trees created cooler outdoor spaces, making it easier for people to move about comfortably. Vines such as grapevines were trained to grow along walls and pergolas, providing additional shade while also producing valuable fruit. These climbing plants helped insulate homes, keeping the walls cool by preventing direct sun exposure. In royal and noble residences, lotus ponds and garden courtyards were filled with papyrus reeds, which added moisture to the air, making it more comfortable during dry seasons. Temple complexes and palaces had carefully designed gardens where priests and officials could conduct religious ceremonies or official meetings in cooler, shaded environments. These areas were also essential for resting after long hours of work or travel under the sun. Using vegetation as a cooling strategy was not just a luxury, but a survival technique. Farmers and merchants relied on shaded areas to store goods, conduct business, and rest during the hottest parts of the day. For pharaohs and high-ranking officials, lush gardens symbolized wealth, power, and divine favor, reinforcing their ability to create comfort even in the harshest climates. The practice of planting trees near homes also helped reduce the impact of hot winds and sandstorms, making life more bearable for everyone. The ancient Egyptian method of cooling with greenery is still widely used today. Many cities encourage urban tree planting to reduce heat buildup, and modern homes use green roofs, vertical gardens, and shaded patios to lower indoor temperatures. Working with the sun, not against it. Another thing the Egyptians were very good at was how they adapted their schedules to avoid it. Rather than struggling against the hot midday sun, they structured their daily routines to maximize the cooler hours of the morning and evening. For those working outdoors, such as farmers, laborers, and traders, the day began at sunrise. The early morning offered cooler air and softer sunlight, making it the ideal time for fieldwork, construction, and transportation. By midday, when the heat became unbearable, most physical labor would pause or slow down. The hottest hours of the day were reserved for rest, shade, and indoor activities. Markets and trade centers also followed this schedule. Merchants preferred to set up stalls and conduct business in the early morning or late afternoon, when buyers were more likely to move through the streets comfortably. Temples and religious ceremonies also aligned with this rhythm. Priests performed key rituals at dawn or dusk, ensuring that worshippers and officials avoided unnecessary exposure to extreme heat. In royal and government settings, important meetings and state affairs were held indoors during peak heat hours, while military movements, large-scale construction projects, and major public gatherings were scheduled during cooler periods. This structured approach prevented heat exhaustion and maximized productivity. By working with nature rather than against it, Egyptians ensured that essential tasks could be completed without excessive strain on the body. For soldiers, traders, and laborers, adjusting work hours was a matter of survival. Excessive heat exposure could slow construction on massive projects like the pyramids, disrupt agricultural cycles, or even weaken military campaigns. The idea of strategic activity scheduling is still used worldwide. In many desert regions, outdoor work is conducted in the early morning or after sunset. Movies like Dune, which was shot in parts of the Middle East, were only shot during the night time to avoid the blistering sun.